reason I always thought Canada had polar bears, but then there are grizzly bears out there. Super. Moving on with our next session, and to get the next moderator on stage, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Group Commodity Editor, CNBC, TV18, India, Manisha Gupta. Thank you, Manisha. It seems like you only paid 3 members of the audience to clap for you. The rest of them have not been. Come on, guys. Thank you. On the panel, Shyam Narsaria of Arvee International, Myanmar. From Sunraj Shipping Agency, India, Hiten Kataria. From Bajrang International, Dheeraj Purohit. Shiv Shakti Group, Nepal, Rahul Agrawal. And from Krishna Canvassers, India, Rohit Poptani. That concludes your panel. I mean, I was wondering whether I missed out a name or two, but I think that's it. Thank you. All yours, Manisha.
Thank you. Well, almost the last panel of this event, and what we're talking about is all kinds of pulses. We've already spoken about chickpeas, and we've spoken about yellow peas, so that leaves us with pigeon peas and masoor, moong, urad, the most important ones, by the way. And if you look back at 2024, all of these pulses really made trade very difficult, and it looks like the farmers were listening, and then the government reached out to various other countries as well, and they are growing pulses for us now. We'll talk about the currency and the logistics and what is there in store for 2025 as well. And of course, the sense on prices also, because what we saw in 2024 was very volatile prices. We saw government step in many a times, free imports and sense of pulses for India, and then of course, as I said, global trading partners as well, on what it means for them for this year, because now we have enough pulses. Whether we need them or not this year is a question that many of us are asking ourselves and them as well. Shyam, I'll start with you first, and Myanmar has been perhaps the oldest trading partner, as we know. Of course, after that, we've reached out to Australia and Brazil and Argentina, and we're talking to some other countries. How is Myanmar feeling about that? Are you jealous?
Thank you, Manisha, for the question. Of course, we are feeling jealous. Sorry, jokes apart. Actually, it's not being a matter of being jealous. We are proud that Myanmar is a 4-decade-old partner, supplier of India for all kinds of beans and pulses. In Myanmar, we do have around 18 kind of beans and pulses. That is in exportable quantity, sizable numbers. Mainly Urad, Toor, and Moong. These 3 are the big quantities, which does affect the supply and demand. And we can easily say that India is somewhat dependent on Myanmar over the past few decades for these 3 items.
So then let's start with pigeon peas first, and let's understand on what do you see as Indian numbers? How much would India want to import from Myanmar? What do you have to offer? What is the kind of availability and crop that you're looking in for the country this time?
Thank you. Pigeon peas, as we all know, the second most consumed and produced pulses in India after chana. So Myanmar has a big role to play for pigeon peas. Over the years, Myanmar is a good supplier for pigeon peas to India. Though our numbers are small, like earlier we used to have, say, 7-8 years back, we used to have around 500,000 tons. But after some abrupt policy changes from India, the numbers went down to as low as 100,000 tons. But again, since India opened OGL, our quantity is growing very fast. This year, I mean in 2025, we'll be having somewhere around 400,000 tons, which is again a good number, though it is just, say, 8 to 10% of the total consumption in India. But Pigeon peas from Myanmar is mostly preferred by the millers over Africa and some parts of India. So it's always in demand, and I can say Myanmar has been always a good support for pigeon peas, especially when there is a big noise of price inflation, pulses, price inflation. So Myanmar always been a good support, though we have less numbers, but our support is regular and throughout the year.
We appreciate that. But going forward now, for this year especially, when we are looking at higher sowing for pigeon peas in India, how much would you say Myanmar would still be exporting to India this season?
So yes, this year the sowing numbers are very good in India. Like last 2 years, we witnessed very low production, maybe because of the weather issues. But this year, the weather have been very supportive, though in some parts of Karnataka there were issues, but it didn't affect, so though the sowing area was increased, and during the sowing time, the price of pigeon peas was very high, that also affected a lot. So I remember the pigeon peas sowing in India in somewhere around June, same like Myanmar. So during June, the price was, I think, all-time high, somewhere around 120 rupees. And that is, say, almost 45%, 40% more than the MSP. So the Indian farmers, as well as the Myanmar farmers, they were very much encouraged to grow the production, and we got the result. But important is, we got the numbers, but how to utilize it? We have to very tactfully think. Current price being almost 5-6 rupees less than MSP, which is a very alarming thing. I think the fundamentals are not working that well. Sentiments are overruling fundamentals. Actually, this is the time, this year, the government should make a good policy for long term for other countries who are supporting, like as we come to know that Argentina and Brazil are also keen of growing pigeon peas. But if the government keep on changing the policy, like currently since last 2 years, we have the OGL policy. But if we keep on changing, the other countries will be discouraged. So I request the government, again, to maintain a long-term stable policy and let the fundamentals work, demand and supply. If the demand is high, definitely other countries will support. If the demand is less, price is low, definitely the production will come down. So let this fundamental work over the sentiment.
All right, let me come to each one of you and ask you on what the global sense and pulses is right now, because the way India's dependence on imports increased in the last year may not be the case this year, but how is the world looking at you, looking at us in that sense? I'll start with you and I'll come to everyone with that question first. How are you looking at the global pulses right now with these 3 pulses in specific, and how do you look at supply? How do you look at the Asian market, since we're talking South Asia here, and then specifically India? Let's break it down like that.
Regarding the global pulses, yes, 2025 we can say is a blessing for the pulses. Not because the price is down, but because the production is there. We got the numbers what we wanted. Means we have been trying when the government and the entire trade fraternities, they have a wish that we got numbers. Definitely if there are production, then everybody will be benefited, starting from the farmers to the traders to the consumers. So global numbers are very good this year, which is very good for the trade. But because of some government factors, as I'm mentioning again and again, but this is the main reason why the trade is not feeling so confident. I think the current prices for few of the commodities are like very low, and again I'm saying the sentiments are overruling the fundamentals, but it's not the time to panic, it's time to hold on, wait for the time being, let the fundamentals, which is bound to work, come again, work, and then we can regain the actual prices. The current prices are not the real prices, because we are forgetting one thing, that government have to create buffer, and this is the opportunity for them to create buffer. Once government create buffer to control the food inflation, then everything will be normal. Like I mentioned, most of the commodities are below the MSP. MSP is like we can say the barometer which we see, okay, at least this price the trade will sustain. So I feel let the fundamentals work for all the country, from global point of view, from Indian point of view, and the Asia, South Asia. One thing I would like to mention, sorry, not related to this, that this South Asia Agri Forum, they are doing one very wonderful thing. Like, look, they are organizing in countries like Nepal, Thailand, now Sri Lanka. These countries, which are the good potential consumers, producers, being overlooked since so many years. So I congratulate them and I appreciate the choice of destination, what they are doing is very good. I appreciate.
Mr. Narsaria, just one more question, and I hope you're not feeling like I'm grilling you on this, but I'm just asking all the relevant questions. So if you say, if you tell the trade, don't panic, the better days are coming, hold on. If we look back at 2024, what would you say the thing that really went berserk? Was it government policy? It was lower production, it was government policy, was it everything?
Actually, I don't say that like vessels are coming. Just now I was discussing with one of my friend, and every one day, second day, there is, manifest of all the vessels. So people are in more panic. Actually, the people are in panic, but there is no need to be in panic. Let the fundamentals work. These are the result of Indian government. They have requested all the countries, including all the African countries, then even Australia, Canada, Brazil and Argentina being the new participants in the pulses. It is the effort of the government. Now it is the government to think how to utilize it rather than destroying. Because I was told that Brazil is doing around 120 to 150,000 tons of black Matpe production. But if the price is too low, or if there is an abrupt policy changes, how these countries will support in future? Myanmar has badly faced this phase in 2017, when we have a full production and the government said we don't need pulses, and it was restricted. So we have suffered. $800, $900 items of like Toor and black Matpe we sold at 300, almost in the cattle feed. So government need to think again, need to realize that pulses consumption is going up. More people are turning vegetarian. India is protein deficient country. So we have to think long-term view rather than short-term.
Well, I can tell you, I'm a vegetarian. I've been eating dal 3 times a day. But coming to you, how would you look at 2025 as a year? I mean, we understand 24 was volatile. We saw prices all over the place. India has been asking all countries to do that. But when you look at the global markets, one, and second, your view for 2025, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult or how profitable do you see this year to be?
Thank you, Manisha ji. Actually, to answer your question, we must understand like Nepal is a landlocked country. I am being from Nepal, and we are totally dependent on the policies of Indian government. So actually what happens whenever there is a change in policy, like in 2023-24, they have reduced the import duty. They have banned the export of grains as and when required. So Nepal, totally depending on India, they are affected with these kinds of policies. So if we see 2024, it was really a very, very tough period for Nepal, because on one hand, the prices were very high, and on second hand, like the manufacturer couldn't import large cargoes because they get good offers from India, and the small traders can import the small cargoes. So once they are active, the manufacturers are in really bad shape. So 2024 was very, very poor. Now coming to like 2025, we hope something better can happen, because the prices are cooling down, and the global pulses production and demand supplies is also looking good for considering Nepal as a point. But again, like saying that One thing what I want to say is all the suppliers around the world has to see Nepal as a separate market, and they cannot do pricing as per India because the cost of production in Nepal is bit high. So if they consider Nepal market a separate market and they do their pricing, their selling strategy, dispatch strategy, shipping strategies according to Nepal requirement, they can definitely do good business in Nepal as well. Thank you.
Fair point that. Hiten, let me come to you, and because logistics was mentioned here, one is abrupt policies is something that we faced all of last year. The other is strategic planning is something that is the buzzword right now on what we need to look forward on. How have you been in a logistics company, seen 2024 as a year? Where do you think the problems arose, and how are you looking at this new year now?
So, first of all, thank you for this platform. The question that you've put, no, I think there's no right answer to that because no, it really depends on kind of position a trader no, has taken. From purely logistics point of view, no, it happens that whenever the market is moving in one direction, and the problem is without fundamentals, or probably fundamentals kept aside, most of the market moves against sentiment. Either it is fear-driven or hope-driven. And when it is fear-driven, everybody wants their cargo to come first, as soon as possible. It wants to be done right now, not even today. And that has happened this year for sure. Specifically in Pigeon Peas, when you talk, the cargoes that were supposed to come all over the year has probably been dumped in just 3 months or 4 months. So if I say from July till December itself, probably 8 lakh tons of cargo has only come from Africa. The kind of resources that they have, it is very clear that if you try to understand how the procurement would have been done, how early the stuffing would have been done, and what kind of freights they would have paid to get the cargo as early as possible, and when the cargo comes here, the kind of resources you have. Because India, particularly all traders, including us, so we need resource today for warehouse. We all know it is not available, and that time we think that okay, we should have this warehouse, we should build this network, all of that happens. But when in the next 2025, when this things calms down, and then people will not think about it. Then again there'll be a bull run, probably in 2026, 27, and then you don't require warehousing that much because the cargo that comes in is already sold, you already booked your profits. So coming back to the primary thing, that whatever we do, and that probably is an answer for everything. I mean, when you talk about relationships in the country levels, you want to build relationships in business level, you also need to have infrastructural setups. Everything should be thought about in a way that has to be continuous. You don't have to only think that at good times I will use this, at bad times I will not. And this is true for relationship that India has with Myanmar maybe. As in, you can't go to Myanmar on a bad season, which you have, and at a good time you forget them. Good or bad, you're with them. So relationship has to be maintained, that has to be worked in the professional and the infrastructure levels also. You have a warehouse provider, you have your transport providers, you have logistics teams. All of them, you put pressure on them when you need resources, and when everybody needs resources, you're a fight, right? And then, and that's how people need to think going forward. Anything that you do needs to be planned for coming years and collectively, not individually. Otherwise, yes, there are some people, some corporates. They know. I mean, they are not doing business only for the sake of doing business for one time, and they keep their resources ready for good times, bad times, and they are able to manage whenever the terms are or the things are very crucial. But many a times when we seen our importers, they're going helter-skelter for any kind of resources, and that's happened in 2024 for sure. And we had to face a big blunt of that. So yeah, that answers your question maybe.
So, for logistics as a company, how was it for you? I mean, I understand the trade relations is one part of it, strategy is another really. But when it comes to the overall cargoes, the kind of import dependence that India seems to be getting into now for one or the other commodity at one or the other year really, how would you look at 2025 then? And what is the policy that you would want from Indian government?
So I think when we talk about policy, generally India or probably everybody wants to say that we want to have a best policy. I have a different view on when we say what is best policy, because a best policy will not be good for everybody. Okay, And then you'll have to come what is the next best solution. And how you, want to cater to that problem, and with that the answer will come. If you really want to look at having long-term policies, 2 years, 3 years down the line, maybe 5 years down the line, then everything can fall in place. You can really plan out things. I mean, just a very small example. When we know for sure, like for example, 4 or 5 lakh tons Myanmar is going to send, and that's going to come every month. We know that this kind of resources can only be for Myanmar, and everybody knows that they can be very sure that these many tonnage or this much cargo will always be available. Same goes for Mozambique and Tanzania. No, Mozambique doesn't have direct vessels at all, because the exporters are not even sure as to how much cargo at what time they want to send to India. And that's when there is a bullish market, they want all the cargo to come in bulk vessels at one go. When there's a bearish time, they'll say, okay, we'll take it as and when we want to. So if we have a long-term policy which is looked at on a best optimal level, rather than we'll only do best. We want everything to go well for the farmers. We want everything to go well for the consumers, and not think about traders. They will always have a problem. You'll have to think of a holistic policy. You'll have to include the traders, not put them always as a villainous mode. I mean, none of us are anti-heroes. So that way, I mean, yes, if you look at getting the policy at long-term levels, all your stakeholders will make sure that they align yourself, and then themselves will make sure that their resources, their any kind of work that they need to do is in falling line.
That. All right, Rohit, this one is to you then. And how are you looking at the Indian markets right now? We all understand and agree to the fact that we need long-term policies, we need strategic planning, we need to maintain our relationships around as well. This is not the first time that we're talking about this, right? Because this is something as a discussion we have every 3 or 4 years. Every time we want more commodities, we go out to the countries. The only thing is now we've added more countries into the kitty.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I will say this is a very good year for India, that Indian farmers and producers are still bringing up. The crop is becoming big each and every day, and the government is also encouraging the farmers. Almost to our production, we can see as 4 million metric ton. But if you say about the policies and the import, it is very difficult to match both of them, because government wants the import and the prices to be cheaper. But as a trader community, or we as a import pulses, we should say that we should add some value chain in our products, less like processing or retail packaging, because in the market you can get easily prices of 98 to 100 rupees as a dal. But if you go on a retail, it will not be below 140 or 180. So besides speculation or trade, we should add more on the retail value chain.
All right, that's another way to look at it. And I'm done talking policies, because let's start talking numbers now. And let's start with you itself. How are you looking at numbers? Once you say 2025 seems like a good year, we are obviously talking better crop here and better numbers as well, better prices also. So how are you putting your numbers out?
See, production is very good, especially in Karnataka and Maharashtra. Almost, I would say, is 4 million metric ton. But the good thing is there is no carryover. So the more and more cargo is coming, it's going directly to the processors, millers, and the end consumers. And whatever the price is coming down each and every day, because each and every farmer wants to sell it. The only price that government can control it, keeping as a buffer. As the government come in the market, especially I would say by the March, then only the prices will be able to stable, or else prices will be below the MSP now.
For pigeon peas?
Pigeon peas.
And for Urad?
Urad, similar scenario. Urad supply is very well, especially nowadays from, I would say, Brazil has been most likable Urad nowadays. Myanmar, it's been ruling from almost a decade. But I would say Brazil and Argentina is doing a very good now.
How would you look at Urad prices, Urad availability?
See, Urad availability is there. See, I don't go by particularly with the numbers. I feel production in India is down. Trade says around 2 million tons. I feel 14 to 15 lakh metric tons. So, Urad, the supply is less and the demand is not there, but it will come. Current scenario in Myanmar, again the same. During the sowing period, during the month of October and November, the prices were very high. The demand from India was very good. Our numbers are very good, over 1 million tons, maybe 1.1 or maybe 1.2. But these numbers will be just enough for the Indian consumption. So I feel Long term, this is the good time for the government to start and create buffer not only for PGNPs but also for Urad, which the government tried very hard in the last 1 or 2 years, but they were not successful. This is the year to create some buffer and let not the speculation or speculators dominate the market.
All right. Dheeraj, with this one is to you then. What are your global pulses, sense of it? How would you look at the Asian markets with the numbers that we have?
Thank you very much, Manisha ji. And first, I would like to thanks Vivek ji and congratulations Vivek ji and team to organize such a beautiful events where we meet a lot of peoples and understand the markets. And the best part I found the discussions even yesterday and today, the valuable information has been shared in this conference. Regarding pulses about global market, I'm not much aware like Shyam ji and Rohit ji, as they are considering mostly Indians and trade market, Myanmar. But I know a little bit about Sudan because I am having operation in Sudan. So I would like to tell about Sudan, what's happening and how it will be grow, Sudan part. What I understand, Toor is a main commodity, what I believe is producing in Sudan and other regions also, other part of the world also. So in Toor we are saying like in Hindi we are saying Har Har Gange, Har Har Arihar. Har is Toor basically. So without Toor, I think nothing, we can't consider food nutrition, especially in dals basically. Earlier there was a prop as far as concerned of the Indian governments. They are very active in policy makers. They have to address the key factors which the Shyamji told. They have to make a one policy because what I'm visiting around the world. So what I understand now the other part of the world is very worried about. They saying bus is very speculative trade in India. So I think they are making sentiment little bit down. And now what I hear, the other is, Pigeon is producing in Brazil also. They are quite successful in black Matpe. So giving confidence around the world and making stability in the world. What I believe in our trade, there's no stability. So making stability, they have to work some clean policy. What I like a OGLs in part of they want to control. They have to do. They have to make a price barrier to protect like import price barrier. This level to protect farmer also as well as consumer also. So what is happening nowadays due to the lack of the confidence, like the policy changing, sometime ban. If you found in Tanzania and Mozambique, Sudan, of course Sudan is quite disturbed right now, but now the big origin in South America is coming in pigeon peas. So what I'm thinking later on, we are missing the opportunities. Like, people are splitting plant in that country. So they are not dependent on India, basically. They told we are growing, we are storing, when India can be put ban and where will be these goods. So better to put splitting plant, at least we can feed. So we are losing national economy also, what I believe. And India export day by day becoming down also, so they have to think see, if we are make reasonable price barrier, what I believe, then import will be continuously, we will give our workforce job also, we will export also split purchase, which help to control dollar, which is a main concern right now. After Trump uncle will become, then what will be happen? So everyone is no. So we have to think all criteria, what I believe. So especially trade community is not a criminal, basically, what I believe. See, people are not worried to buy cigarette packet 300 rupees when dal price little bit high and government start to putting these things. Pay the labor, if he can afford 500 rupees alcohol and 300 rupees cigarette, he can afford 125 rupees dal also. This is main priority, main concern, what I believe. So government should work on that things. Unless there's a props, survival is growing and wise are trading. So now what is happening last couple of the year, what is in wise are growing and trader are survival, basically. So both should, what I believe in macroeconomically, both should be survival. So
Also, tell me about on how 2025 would be. Do you see prices stabilizing, continuing volatile, going higher with the kind of crop numbers that we are working with?
it should be like other commodity, recently the decision taken by the Indian government also, they put yellow pigeon NCDX, like these things. So they should come in hedging also, which quite helpful. Because ultimately, who's paying tax? Trader is paying tax. Farmer is not paying tax. If they will earn, they will pay tax. Then they have to think macroeconomically also, what I believe. So price should be range bound, what I believe the African pulses, especially Tanzania, Mozambique, Ethiopia, Nigeria. I visited a couple of months before Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the small producers of the pulses, Toor, which the quality is quite good in compared to Sudan. It's okay, but they are scared to growing because they're saying, India is the only buyer, basically. So it's country specific, and even farmer and like a grower, they're scared. The Indian policy is too much. See, they are African, they know. So first, government should work. Even they can start like a budget. In budget sense, they make one policy for whole year. So trader can take decisions, grower can take decisions, and now the alternate is going on. Like a pulses, this Toor earlier eating by the mostly Indian people. Now it's using for cane industries. It's inducing all other nutritions also. In Sudan, what I understand, earlier only 5% they are consuming locally because they are using the staple food like a fool, like a fava beans. Now 35%, within 4 years, 35% they are using them own self. And later on they will use more. So ultimately impact to India. So we are providing opportunity to other country to grow rather than ourselves.
Oh yes, totally. Mr. Narsaria, let me come back to you because every question that I'm asking somehow is coming back to the policy point yet again. Myanmar has been a trading partner with India, as you said, for decades. This is not the first time that India is reaching out or buying less from Myanmar. I'm assuming this always has been a pull and push kind of a relationship all of these years.
No, never a pull and push kind of relationship. India and Myanmar both share very good relationship with regard to trade. Myanmar mainly exports beans and pulses, and Myanmar imports pharmaceuticals from India and some construction materials. So it's never been the same. Myanmar and India still have a very good long-term, over 4 decades. The business started with the visit of the Indian Prime Minister in 1985 in Myanmar, and he initiated this. He encouraged Myanmar farmers to grow pulses and export to India, and since then it's been very steady.
My point of asking is this the first time you're feeling bothered with Indian policy?
Actually, yes, because we have numbers. Why we have numbers? Because the Indian government, Indian officials, they made several meetings and requests. Even they asked their Myanmar counterparts, even the associations, they visit Myanmar, they encourage the farmers, they encourage Myanmar people to grow more pulses because India is short. Suddenly, if the numbers is there, and the main point is, so far, OGL extension is not there. So it's not like we are saying that, no, it won't be there. It will be there, I know. But problem is, because there is no OGL extension, there is some sort of panic in Myanmar market. And that panic is adding on to the panic of mutton and chana. So the sentiment is too low. I feel we need to come out of it. As we know, during the winter season, so many fresh vegetables are available in abundance, and even this green chana that is available 15 to 20 rupees a kg. So definitely this point of time, during the month of December, January and first half of February, the pulses consumption is lowest. And since the consumption is lowest, millers are not buying in big quantity from the suppliers. Definitely this time, every year you see the price will be in lower side. Prices, actual prices comes in picture from second half of February when the temperature goes up. The same temperature maintains with the pulses and it goes up, demand comes, millers are encouraged to supply as they see good demand from the consumers. So I feel there is no such factor of pull and push Myanmar in India. Myanmar has been very good supplier and India have been very good trading partner of Myanmar. And we expect, as I mentioned in your channel also, that Myanmar has started a rupee trade where 20% of all the exports from Myanmar to India will be in Indian rupee. So definitely Indian counterpart will encourage it and they will reciprocate it for a long-term policy for Myanmar.
Oh, well, yes, absolutely. Both the countries are doing quite a bit. Let me come to prices yet again. And Rahul, I'll start with you then. How are we looking at prices this time around? Crop is sufficient. Are we looking at slightly easy prices in 2025?
Yeah, the prices will definitely be a bit easy because, you know, the production numbers are good in all the commodities, especially if we are talking about this Urad, Pigeon peas and this Moong. But definitely the price will be easy and it will be bit in like very easy form for all the buyers to like. It will not be very much volatile also, and we will be in comfortable position throughout the year. What I am seeing and the numbers as per the numbers.
So if you look at the prices in previous year as a percentage, how much of a decline are you looking in prices for this year?
I think so. It's already 30% down, and we see further 10 to 12, 10 to 15% we can say further down because of the supply concern.
Mr. Narsaria, what would you say? Less volatile, easy prices, another 10% decline from here?
Well, I don't see another 10% decline from here. Means maybe he's in the destination, so he's saying, I'm in the origin. So I see maximum 5% more decline from here. And then, as I said earlier also, I'm repeating again, sentiments are overruling the fundamentals. Once the real demand, supply, production, consumption figures are there, fundamentals will work. And welcome, Mr. Singh. I was looking for you. Again, through South Asia Agri Forum, we request, since I know you are in one of the policy makers, so please work for the long-term policy for the pulses industry, for not only for India, but for your long-term suppliers.
Okay, so even as Mr. Singh, I'm talking about prices and crop, it's just coming to Indian policies all over again. I mean, if you weren't there, I don't know who we would vent it out to in that sense. But yes, Rohit, this one is to you then. What is your sense on prices? Because almost everybody seems to be believing that it's the year that's not going to see higher prices. We've already seen a big correction. Prices are around below MSP. Further decline is what you're working with also?
I think prices will move around 700 especially for the pigeon piece. And even when Africa comes after June, you can see the levels of 600 as well. So the pressure for the Indian crop will be very good in February, March and April. After these 3 months, then only we will decide on the import prices, how it will move further.
And as Mr. Narsaria said, fundamentals on one side, but is the sentiment really a problem with India right now?
Nothing as such, I would say. When there is a sentiment, everyone wants to sell. It's good for the millers and processors that you can add a value chain to your that. If you are a miller, it's very good that if you supply the sal at very low prices, which currently it is 98 and 100 for a good millers. But if you're on the retail side, it is 120, 140, 180, depends on the channel. So it's good if you add value chain and control the prices or make some margin on that side, besides being on the trade and speculative.
All right. You know, with the background that we are working with right now on what the government policies would be, the kind of crop numbers and prices that we have in hand, I want to come to each one of you and ask you on what is your strategy now for this year, the way we are. Again, Rohit, first to you. You said it's not really about sentiment, it's fine. The prices are almost done correction.
Actually, the prices...
So how are you getting into this year? As a company, how are you starting this year as pulses?
This year, I would say prices will be much stabilized, not much big up and down, I would say, because this is a milling year for the processors especially, and even for the government to maintain the buffer as well. So it is a golden opportunity that Indian farmers are growing and increasing their production. So the more the cargo comes, it should be more self-sufficient on it.
So Are you going to be holding, trading constantly, understand the prices, you've made your range? Is that how this year looks like?
I will prefer to process it first better than keeping the stocks and a trade.
Okay. Mr. Narsaria, how are you going into this year now? We understand the policy part. How will you trade this year? How are you panning yourself out?
See, I'm firm believer in fundamentals, and I do believe the fundamentals will work. No need of any panic. There is no room for any panic. Yes, sentiments are up and down. It keeps on happening in a day to day. But over a course of say 3 months or 6 months, fundamentals will work. Plan your business accordingly. Wait and watch. That's it.
So you're saying the worst period or the uneven or the volatile period would be the next 3 or 4 months. Is that what the market has to tide over?
I think next, say maximum 1 month, the market will be in this stage. After that, it will overcome, as I mentioned earlier also, during this season, the demand and the consumption is always low. So I think after that, definitely the production is more, but it's not that more that it can create
And
havoc
there's
or
not much
panic.
of carry forward stock to begin with. So
Not much carry forward stock. And then as my friend Rohit also said, that the government have to create buffer. And they should. This is the golden opportunity. So it will be good for everyone, for government also, for farmers also, for consumers also, as they will be benefited for long term. They will get a stable price. That's everybody looking for.
I remember Mr. Singh earlier saying if the traders don't buy, the government will eventually do that. Do you see that kind of a scenario coming in?
Can you repeat again? Yeah, government will of course buy, I would think, because the prices, if it comes below the MSP level or at the MSP levels as well, the government will intervene into and will buy it.
What levels are you looking for in the market to buy?
Around 72 to 74 levels.
For pigeon peas?
Peas.
72, 74? 72 to 74.
Price. See, what I say, 72, it's very hard to predict. One thing we should keep in mind, in India there are 100 crore farmers, but 145 crore consumers. So the better, the stable, close to MSP, the price is better. I also feel it's hard to predict. Short term I can say this price, but my idea always the price should remain somewhere near the MSP. That is good for the farmers also and the consumers also.
Coming to you as well, how are you planning your 2025? What is your business strategy for this year?
Yeah, from the trade side, obviously the stock that we already have, we're gonna liquidate slowly. We are not aggressive sellers, so we want to keep that way. Again, we've already said that, I'll probably repeat it again. This is definitely the golden time for the government. I think government has already decided, at least given a mandate to NAFED to buy about 10 lakh tons of pigeon peas. So this will support the market, and I'm only in one view against Rohit what he said. I'm personally thinking that this is probably the market bottomed out, and we'll play like this, plus or minus this way till a bit mid-Feb maybe, and then after that it should be a little better. But no, there's nothing bullish about it, but the gloomy atmosphere will start fading away, and once that happens, then at a proper range bound, normal trade, the amount of trade that Miller wants, he'll get that much cargo, and the sellers will not be panicking selling. And I personally feel that should happen till June then. Till June, this will happen.
Okay. So, everybody seems to be repeating, let's not get gloomy, the bad period will go away, let's not panic, we'll see better year in 2025 is what all of you are saying. I remember last year in January when we had this conference, almost everybody said that Toor prices will go higher. 2023 that was perhaps, and 24 saw some stability come into the prices. As you're getting into this year, Mr. Narsaria, and I'll start with you on this, where do you see an opportunity within the overall pulses as a space? You look at two of them, but do you think this is an year which is going to be kind of, even, stabilize within a range?
No, but the current price of most of the commodities like Urad and Toor is much below than MSP. This is an opportunity. You cannot buy always in the lowest price and sell in the highest price. So you have to find out the opportunity, and this is, I feel anywhere, say current price of pigeon peas is 8% below MSP. This is a good opportunity. You cannot buy in say 10 rupee below MSP. Current time is the good opportunity, or maybe next 15 days maybe you can get better opportunity, but if you have to buy, say, 1,000 tons, buy 100 tons today.
All right. Good opportunity according to you as well, Rahul? These are buying levels for trade?
Yeah, this is good levels, and as we see, the sentiments is like very low right at the moment. So it is better to buy and sell, and when the fundamentals are clear, as Shyamji is saying, maybe that time we can have few stocks as well. But at the moment, it is better to buy and sell.
So we are buying right now is what the view is coming in. Can we have any of you talk about pulses right now? What's your sense on how are you looking at the international markets? I think one thing we've made clear is that the Indian policies need to be long-term. That is something that's Mr. Singh coming at every pulses panel that we've had, that we need long-term policies on this one. And your point is well taken when you said that this is a time traders should buy. If traders don't buy, government will eventually. But a sense on pulses that we open the floor on this one. If you want to say something on pulses, you have a feedback and a question to ask. This is the time to do that. Yeah.
Manisha ji, I just want to make one point to Shyam. There are 3 P's. Production, price, followed by policy. So it's an interplay of production and the price which dictates the policy. There are long-term policies, there are medium-term policies, but again, short-term policies are meant for short-term and immediate intervention. Therefore, we cannot have a long-term policies without reviews of production and the price.
Ram.
Agree or disagree? It's for the panel. Does the panel agree or disagree? Because that voice came from the panel itself.
You know, my first half an hour only went with pulses, that the policies, that is, the policies need to be long-term. Do we need long-term and short-term both policies?
No. I mentioned about 2 P's, followed by the 3rd P. So it cannot be in isolation.
Rohit, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it's a very good thing that government is supporting our industry as well and keeping each and every eye on it. We should hand together to see how we can control the prices. Because if we see in the prices of the farmers nowadays in Mandi as well, in Toor especially, the prices are falling very well. And the cargo is also coming too much. If government support the farmers, government should also think of the traders and the importers who are doing it business. So I will say a price range bond should be there and government should buy at these levels or even the below if they want to maintain a good buffer stock.
Let's do our own roles. Market will have a fair thing.
Yeah, that was a very Miss India kind of an answer. Thank you, Rahul. But yeah, Rahul wanted to say
I just
something.
wanted to reply to Mr. Singh, if that's okay. So, yeah, I mean, his primary question was that, do we agree that yes, no, the price and production will dictate policy? 100%. I mean, obviously. Right. So, no, once that happens, if your production and price is going good, you will have a good policy that will help everybody long term. Right? Exactly. So I agree with that, and I also agree that yes, government has to react to react in a way when things are not going in the way that they want, and obviously the government wants betterment for the larger section of the society. So having said that, probably the issue that currently we are talking about seems to be like a catch-22 situation, because we are in that spiral right now that we want a policy to help us and the policy is waiting to react of what is happening. So maybe down the line, I mean, in a very short term, maybe 2-3 months, we'll get to know what's going to happen, because now we know sure that whatever it is, 40 lakh tons or 35 lakhs or 45 lakh tons, that cargo is going to come. What government is going to do about that, how they're going to help farmers, which in turn will help consumers, and then the traders will have to react, because like I said, we bottom out, and whatever worst could have happened has probably happened. Maybe there is some room more, but I think nobody's unhappy now. I mean, whatever unhappiness was there has already been passed.
I can tell you one thing, Mr. Singh.
Said that whatever had to happen, in fact, whatever good had to happen had happened.
I don't know how to read that one.
Yes, Shyam knows it.
Shyam, what is it?
What was the CI prices about 4 months back, 5 months back, 6 months back? Were those not very good times?
Yes, I agree. The prices were like all-time high.
I'm so
At
sorry,
the time
but
also,
this is
through various, even in the government meeting also, I said there is no need to panic.
So
We
the
have
point
enough
is,
numbers.
so I just made one comment. Good times were there, better times are coming. So it's all the positions that we are talking from.
I-
Where do I?
I wish you will be as expressive as you were when he was not there.
I still, I still feel, I still feel that better time to come. We had good time, bad time, but I feel always better time to come.
Mr. Narsaria, it's so not done. Yeah. Would you agree with the government policies that they have been? Are you unhappy with that? Let's
I'm-
not change our language here.
I'm not happy with the current policy, means current suspense. See, the policy is the government, they have to make. We cannot say anything. But with the current suspense, I'm not happy.
You're not happy with the 3-year MOU?
3 years?
MOU that
Sir,
we
MOU
signed?
is going to expire next
Oh,
year.
that's fine. I'm talking.
Yes,
I'm taking
but
you
the
past.
quantity-
Let's have the review of that MOU.
But
That
the-
how well did it perform?
Sir, the average export of Pigeon peas from Myanmar is 300,000 tons, and the MOU we have is for 100,000 tons. The average export of, say, for the past 2-3 years of black Matpe is 7.5 lakh tons, and the MOU is for 2,50,000 tons.
So it's all for the
definitely,
support. It's always for the support. It's not for the entirety because you understand that. It's not for the entirety.
so always we, at the origin, we feel OGL is the best policy, and let the demand and supply work.
So let's remain the situation for the OGL. Where is the question? Where are the things changing as of now? As of now, when we are talking.
I think, sorry. Yeah. Rav wanted to say something. Can we pass on the mic here?
Yeah, I know.
Have it.
I have just two questions. I heard a lot about government buying and how government is going to come and support MSP. Any one of you can answer this. I'll leave it to Manisha to decide. So history has told us every time government has a buffer, either in the case of Chana for the last 5 years, markets have been flat to bearish every time government gets a product in their buffer. Second is a classic example of red lentils. They got an international buffer and lower buffer. The commodities have not moved anywhere. The price has not moved. So the first question is, how is the government buying going to be supporting the market, because it is going to be flat from what we have seen in history? Do you agree? And if you do, then how do you see this pigeon pea market for the next 12 to 18 months? The second question is, we have seen last 2 years, because of high prices, a lot of demand destruction in pigeon peas. From a consumption level of 4.5, it has fallen to 3, in some cases 2.8. So this demand has moved to some other commodities, may it be peas, may it be red lentils, may it be some other commodities. Do you see this revival of the demand instantaneously, or do you expect this demand to take time to come back to manage the supply and demand consumption?
You want to take the second one first? On pigeon peas.
See, pigeon peas, from the Myanmar point of view and India point of view, the second most consumed. So maybe the yellow peas have come, the demand has, because of the price, these pulses are very much price sensitive. So because of the yellow peas, the price is too low. That definitely there will be some shift in the demand to that. But I feel pigeon peas, those who eat every day for it is the staple food, so that demand will be there, not too much variation. Whatever was supposed to happen already happened, because the price gap was also very big, means where it was over 100 and the yellow peas was say 30, 35, so almost one-third or one-third price. So that was the main reason, I feel.
So there's not too much of a demand destruction that we've seen. Not too much. The first question.
The first question. Rahul, I can repeat the question again so everyone can listen it again.
We have seen that whenever government ends up getting a buffer, 5 years before the last year and a half, government had strong buffers of chana. Chana price was as flat as a prairie land to grow crops. So if the government ends up getting a strong buffer for Toor, do you see any price movement either up or down in pigeon peas?
In pigeon peas, I don't think much price movement because the supply is too much nowadays. Even in the mandis, you can see a good supply all over, especially in Karnataka and Maharashtra. So if even the government comes up, it will not measure much price movement. I would not say as a upside, but it can go on a downside as well.
So means, do you agree then that government creating a buffer would be a long-term bearish market for pigeon peas? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
If we can put this question to Mr. Singh as well.
That'll be a dangerous question for him.
No, it's a question to be dealt by trade. The government doesn't come in because that's the purpose for which buffer is maintained, what Mr. Rao is talking of.
Are you going to be buying a lot, or you think you will, the government is going to give the first leveling to the trade then?
Trade, yes, at MSP. Sub-MSP, we are there. And as I mentioned yesterday also, there is a mandate of buying 100% stock of Toor, Urad and Masoor of farmers directly by the government agencies in case the prices prevail below MSP.
Do you see government as a competition right now, Rohit?
No, not at present.
Not at all? Not at present?
No.
But the arrivals have not picked up now even.
No, we would love that competition to be.
Collaboration. Collaboration.
No. See, basically, we should not lose this sight that the farmers produce for the processors, industry, trade, and the consumers. We are just there as a net. And anything which comes in the net, the buffer requirement is first transferred, and then again we release it to the trade itself through our OMS. It's none of our business to buy something which the trade requires for its, I would say, as a raw material. But yes, the caveat is protect the MSP.
Mr. Singh, as always, thank you. And the time was long back up, but this got into a very good conversation, so we just about continued. But thank you so much for your input. Thank you so much for asking questions. And you want to say something?
One question for Mr. Shyam. Shyam bhai, as you know that Brazil already in the market for Urad. So any planning to counter Brazil? How can you counter? Because once the Brazil Urad cargo comes to India, the dictatorship the leadership of Burma is
truth comes out in jest. Truth comes out in jest.
So what's your counter planning to tackle the Brazil Urad from because the quality of Brazil is definitely good. There is in Burma there is two quality, but Brazil there is one quality and it's equivalent to SQ.
SSQ. It's SSQ.
SSQ. So yes. What's your planning from Burma side as you are exporter from Burma? How can you tackle this? Are you cut down the price or you're waiting the quality or you see the transit time? So what's your call on this?
See, for Brazil, I had one of the very prominent supplier from Brazil. I have a conversation with him last 1 month back. According to them, if the price of Brazil Urad is say 900 below, they are not very keen to grow Urad in Brazil. Whereas in Myanmar, only it happened in last 2 years when there was, shortage of big pulses, so the price went over 900. Otherwise, Myanmar price has always been 600-700 level, or higher side maybe 750. So what I feel, there are several factors where Myanmar have an edge over Brazil. Number one point you say is the quality. Definitely Brazil have a better quality. We do have the similar quality, but we need the buyers for that quality. Normally, what is sold is being processed or developed. We used to supply the same quality, but India want FAQ and SQ, big size and small size. It's not what we want. what India wants, what the buyer wants, what the millers want. We have to do that. Second thing, the duration. From Brazil to India, any port, it takes at least 45 days. From Myanmar to India, it takes 4 days, 3 days. That's big thing. Because this market, the Urad, I feel, is the most sensitive and fluctuating item. In 45 days, the market will go up and come down 10 times. In Myanmar, we can supply in 3 days. The cargo you can clear in 7 days.
Shyam bhai, the market is not very fluctuating, Urad. Because of Burma, this is fluctuating.
No, no.
Once there is continuous supply, I am sure that price will be stable.
I'm sorry. It is not fluctuating because of Myanmar. If it was fluctuating, we have big crop. And you see, at the end of the year, almost everything is being sold. If the price is up, don't buy. Last time also, means in so many platforms I said, we have a very good numbers of black Matpe. Don't panic and buy. Whole last year I was saying, the production of black Matpe, everyone estimated 6 lakh. I say no, it is 9 lakh tons. 8 lakh definitely and maybe 9 lakh tons. Don't panic and buy. There was panic because of other commodities like pigeon peas. There was panic that maybe black Matpe is also not enough. But time proved. Whole year data we have. Every month we have consistent around 75,000 tons on an average export. And finally, when people realize, no, Myanmar have crop, the price went down. You see, from 1150 level to now almost 800 level. Because we have numbers. For the coming year also I'm saying, we have numbers. We have around over 1 million ton, maybe 1.1, 1.2. Don't panic and buy. Wait for the price to stabilize and then you buy.
So your answer is wait and watch and then you see.
Wait and watch. Buy as per the requirement. Don't buy seeing others. Buy what the price is prevailing.
Shyamji, I have a question to you. If the supplies numbers were so comfortable, why did the prices range from $850 to $1150?
Because of the panic buying from India. They thought there are so many people spreading. Sir, I'm telling you, Myanmar did not hold. If Myanmar hold, you see the export numbers. Every month we have near the average, the annual average is 75,000 tons. Every month we have minimum 70,000 exports from Myanmar.
Let it be a food for thought for everybody. So all such discussions cannot be discussed at the panel itself.
There's no end to this because
that is why I'm saying.
But Manisha ji, I just in a lighter vein, you may have Marcelo and Shyam when you are interviewing Marcelo, join Shyam also. That would be a good interview.
that is going to be a lot of fun, by the way.
Yes,
So,
yes.
you know,
And we shall be, and just intimate us when you're interviewing so that we can watch.
well, I'll send it across to everybody. But, you know, just coming to your point, and as you said that it wasn't Myanmar holding, I remember there have been times when government said Indians in Myanmar are holding. I think there was a lot that happened in last year.
Yes, exactly. I'm saying black Matpe is a very volatile and speculative item. People find opportunity. Now it is a different blame game. Myanmar is playing or Indian people are, the speculators are playing. What I say, I feel, I'm sitting in Myanmar, I feel, if there is no demand for black Matpe 2 days, the price come down $10. Sure. So it's hard to say. You cannot pinpoint, no, Myanmar, this supplier is speculating or that one is speculating or the whole country. Yes, I agree there was one supplier in Myanmar. He speculated and he is out of the market now. Because anybody who speculate cannot sustain long.
Rohit, Rohit, it's on you. Shyam is blaming you. You created the Indian traders, they created the panic. Shyam did not. So just have a duel.
Sir, it's always a bull and bear game.
Money, right? And they are doing nothing wrong. Now, if it is against a particular government, and I'm not trying to create a controversy here, there are other means to increase the supply, but the private trade is for profit, right?
Rahul,
And if there is an opportunity to make money, we all are traders, we will. That does not mean that And I am saying in an open forum, it's because that is the honest truth. Let's accept the fact. And if the government has a force either in Myanmar, like every government in the world, may it be Canada, may it be Australia, is going through inflationary pressures, right? They're trying to bring the grocery prices down. That's their job as a government to bring the prices down. It's always going to be at odds. So if there is a shortage in a commodity, in a capitalist environment which we all live in, right? Prices have to move up to get an equilibrium between supply and demand. And there's nothing wrong about it. I don't know why we keep on moving away from that question. But how we can work with the government to control inflation, that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah, I agree. Why are you guilty of making money? I mean, you are companies, you're not charities.
Go to your stakeholders and shareholders. They'll say, why do you even have a job if you don't want to make money?
And you guys did make money, by the way.
Can I answer? Well, I agree, everybody is there to make money and should make. That's the only way of our survival. That's the bread and butter. But when the government is warning again and again, every 15 days, there is a warning from the government.
That's their job, Sanji.
And we as a human being, we also have some social responsibility. Somewhere it comes. Okay, everybody have their own strategy, their own knowledge, own timing. That is the right way. But hoarding the cargo, speculating it, and when the government is forced to put the stock limit, I think that is little extra, and all the trade should refrain from it. That's what I have to say.
I think we'll now do it off the stage because this is not going to end. Please, we invite you.
Thank you, Manisha. It's only you can make a panel discussion so interesting that it goes on, and without total involvement by the audience. One more time, Manisha, if you can do us the honors and present. Starting off with the first one is to a gentleman who's sitting to your extreme right. That is Hiten Kataria of Sunraj Shipping Agency. Hiten, could you please step forward to the center? Yeah. Next one goes to Shyam Narsaria of Arvee International. Coming up next, Dheeraj Purohit, Bajrang International. Rohit Poptani, Krishna Canvassers India. And Rahul Agrawal, Shiv Shakti Group, Nepal. Thank you, Rahul. May we have the panel give a moment of photograph with our moderator?